Okay, welcome back. So you join us here, for those watching on the video, in our brand new set. All change, but still same rubbish format. Jake, what are we talking about now? What news?
On the subject of strange partnerships.
Tenuous, but go on.
Tenuous link.
Yeah.
We were discussing Qatar Airways just now. This is a stronger link. And, of course, this deal between Virgin and Qatar that would see Qatar take a 25% stake in Virgin. And they would be Virgin would be wet leasing Qatar planes to operate flights to Doha. It's sort of come out, and this was spotted by Analytic Flying, which is a aviation analytics blog, analysis blog. They know what they're talking about. They've got lots of graphs. But they've sort of picked up from the application that Virgin and Qatar put into the ACCC for this new arrangement of theirs, that Virgin would become Qatar's, or the Qatar would become Virgin's exclusive sort of code share, interlining partner, what have you, on flights to Middle East, Europe, and Africa. The application says Qatar Airways will become Virgin Australia's exclusive interline codeshare and loyalty partner headquartered in the Middle East or Turkey, excluding an interline for passenger reaccommodation purposes. Virgin Australia will not codeshare on the international flights of other airlines to, from, or within the Middle East, Europe, and Africa, and will not acquire or supply any loyalty point accrual services or high-value guest services. So, for example, benefits such as lounge access to gold members and above with any airline headquartered in Africa or Europe. Virgin Australia will also become Qatar's exclusive interline codeshare and loyalty partner headquartered in Australia, although Qatar may continue its interline and loyalty arrangements with Qantas to the extent required by its One World membership, and Qatar Airways will not codeshare on the international flights of other airlines to and from Australia. And what this would mean is that Virgin's long-standing codeshare partnership with Etihad, headquartered in Abu Dhabi, would be gone. It would just be Virgin and Qatar code-sharing to the Middle East, and Etihad would be standing basically on its lonesome.
So almost to take a step back from that, I would say a lot of people have asked the question, what's in this for Qatar? Why would they go and buy a 25% stake in Virgin, which is an airline that has come out of COVID and is making money, but isn't like a major international airline? This is not necessarily a gold mine for them. So the question is, why would they do this? One of the reasons we know is potentially, if it's allowed through, this will allow Virgin Australia to wet lease Qatar aircraft to fly to Doha, and this effectively circumvents the rules, in the sense that if you are an international airline, there's an allocation that the government has to approve. If you're a domestic airline, there is essentially like another set of allocations. So by taking a stake in Virgin Australia and using Qatar Airways aircraft and crew, it means it's very likely those flights are going to take place. And as we said before, it doesn't necessarily mean they're making a mockery of the rules. It's more so that it makes the rules look quite silly, you know. But nonetheless, that's one potential reason they can do it. This is a very interesting point, because it's almost like this is almost about knocking out their competition. So to be very clear, Etihad flights will still obviously be allowed to fly from Abu Dhabi into Australia. But what it does mean is that the code share link with Virgin Australia is gone. And obviously that code share is a very significant incentive for a lot of people to book those flights. Now, you don't have to be an expert in geopolitics to know that there is a rivalry between Qatar and the UAE in all sorts of, areas of politics, but particularly in that Qatar is trying to build Doha up to be one of these hub airports that is a rival for Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So effectively what they've done is, by doing this deal, they are huge. This is like a huge tackle on one of their biggest rivals, all within the rules and all within the laws, but nonetheless it puts Etihad into a very, very difficult position, and it really helps build Doha up as the kind of main, or one of the main connective hubs that Australians will need to use if they want to sort of explore further in the world.
Yeah, Etihad basically now would be kind of squeezed between Qatar partnered with Virgin and Qantas or Emirates partnered with Qantas. And there are no, like Etihad had an interline agreement with Rex domestically, which is not as big as a code share. But now Rex's domestic jet operations are gone. If Rex was still around, flying domestic, I mean, it is still around, but still around flying domestic services on its 737-800s, then maybe Etihad might have been able to sort of pump Rex up a bit more. And go for a full code share with Rex and sort of stay in the game in terms of getting access into the Australian domestic market through code shares. But now that Rex is gone, that interline agreement is. I'm not sure what's happened to it. Presumably, it might still be in effect for the regional services, but you definitely can't. You wouldn't be able to code share on an Etihad flight into Sydney and then a Rex service to Adelaide or wherever. So it's a real kind of pincer move, if you like, against Etihad, and it's difficult because they've got
nowhere to go.
They've got nowhere.
Yeah.
There is no third major airline group in Australia anymore. Rex gave it a go, but there's no more Rex domestic services. So unless some new domestic airline again comes along and has a crack. Etihad's kind of stuck in the middle.
It does make total sense. This is essentially the deal will help really establish Doha and Qatar as the main hub if you want to try further afield. So clearly, people were asking why has this happened. When you look into it, actually it does make perfect sense for Qatar to do this.